أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين وبالقاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن أول بيت وضع للناس للذي ببكة مباركا وهدى للعالمين صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات بإمام محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Greetings and felicitations on this very auspicious occasion in which we are gathered to celebrate the prosperous birth of Moulana Muttaqiyan Yasubuddin Zawj al-Batul Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wa salam. Allahumma salli ala. And indeed, it is one of the major Eids for mu'mineen, especially those who are doing tamassuk to the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wa salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. I recited this verse from Surah Al-Imran, verse number 96. As you know, time is very constrained. Inshallah, I will try and conclude just a few minutes before namaz so we can perform the wudu and pray on time. Inshallah, promptly right after salat, we'll proceed downstairs as had been announced for the iftar, and many people are fasting, and for dinner. And we request that you eat as quickly as possible and then make your way back up, inshallah, for the remainder of the program. As my understanding is, the program will be conducted over here, the remainder of the poetry program. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah of Al Imran 96 says, Inna awwala baytin wadi'a linnasi lalladhi bibakkata mubaraka. That the first house which was established for the ibadat and the worship of mankind is in Makkatul Mubarakah, the blessed city of Makkah, another name for it known as Bakka, Hudan lil Alameen. And that house is the hidayat and guidance for mankind. Now, isn't it surprising that we read in Quran that Allah refers to this book as a book of hidayat? It says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. When the discussion is of Prophet, he's rahmatan lil alameen. When the discussion is of Allah, he's Rabbul Alameen. The common theme is Alameen over there. That the book is hidayat for muttaqeen. Prophet is rahmat for Alameen. And Allah is Rabb of Alameen. And other places in Quran also, we mentioned that book was limited only to muttaqeen. You'd say, well, the book is for everyone. But why is it that Allah says only guidance for those who are muttaqi? It may not be new. You may have heard this before, that when it rains, The rain does not choose that which land it should fall upon. It will rain without any injustice. It will rain without any prejudice on all places. Whether it's a hard rock surface, whether it's a desert, whether it's a fertile field, or anything that sort. Rain will not look at any of these places with discrimination. It rains everywhere. But the hard rocky surface will not benefit much from the rain. Neither the desert will be able to produce anything from this rain. It's only that fertile land which has the capability of producing something. Hence, when we look at this book, when Allah says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, that it is a book, there's no doubt in it, and it is a guidance for those who are pious. No, book, anyone can access this book. In this day and age, everyone has accessed this book. More non-Muslims may have accessed this book than we have, learned more about it and done more research over this book. But nonetheless, Quran says anyone can access it, anyone can read it, anyone may go ahead and figure out the meaning of it, but it will only provide guidance to those who are muttaqeen, to those who have opened their hearts in taqwa and in God-wariness and in piety to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the individual who will be able to benefit from this book. So when we look at the book, we understand that book is a thing which can guide people. Book is, obviously a means of guidance. Nobody will question about it. But how is it that a house would be used in the same sense that would be providing guidance for mankind? It says, إِنَّ أَوَّلَ بَيْتٍ وُضِعَ لِلنَّاسِ لَلَّذِي بِبَكَّةَ مُبَارَكًا هُدًى لِلْعَالَمِينَ. The house which is established for the worship of mankind. Why? So that it will provide guidance to mankind. The question is, how can this house provide guidance? It's made of bricks. There's nothing inside this house. We glorify the house and we pray in the direction of the house. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was addressing a prophecy that is not merely the house. We are using this as a vessel, as a zarf makan. The one who will be born in the house is the one who will provide this guidance to you. Ya Ali. And therefore, the bayt does not consider to be a bayt until someone has lived in that bayt. Otherwise, in Arabic, it is called dar. You don't call it to be bayt. You call bayt because someone has stayed in there. Now, because it's a limited house, it's a small house, it's not that big. How could Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who's unlimited, infinite, be fitting in this house? No, that is not a possibility. You cannot limit God, and God cannot be limited in the confines of a house. Hence, someone has to be born in this house. Someone has to spend time in this house, and that was in the form of Ali ibn Abi Talib. The story goes as this, and it is mentioned in Muntahul Amal and other books of Tariq, that Fatima bint Asad, she was with pain of labor as she arrived at the door of Kaaba. And Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib narrates the story. He said, I looked at Fatima bint Asad. She was definitely in pain. She raised her hands and she said, looking at the house of God, that, oh God, I accept the one who built this house, Ibrahim. I follow the sunnah of Ibrahim. In fact, I embrace the religion that you intend to reveal. I follow the sunnah of all of the Anbiya, and I beg you for that baby who's in my womb, who speaks to me and consoles me in this painful time, as the story of Hazrat Maryam is also there, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told her to go to a place which is away from the public's view. She goes to this makanan sharqiyya, that tree which was not producing any fruits. When she leans onto the tree, it starts producing producing fresh dates, which she could eat, consume, and then give birth to Hazrat Isa, Prophet Jesus. And when she came back, she pointed towards Isa alayhi wasalam when Bani Israel were looking at her. Oh Maryam, your father was a nice man. Your mother was not a rebellious woman. Where did you bring this baby? Similar was the case, a little bit different, when Fatima bint Asad made this dua. Abdullah, Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib says, when she made this dua, right away the door of Kaaba, right away the back side of the Kaaba opened up. Fatima bint Asad entered inside the Kaaba. She was in there for 3 days. We tried to open the main door. Nobody could gain access to the house until after the 4th day, when Fatima bint Asad came out with a baby in her arms, and that was Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. Salawat bhi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Muhammad wa ali. So if you look at it from this aspect, that this house was built by Ibrahim and Ismail alayhim as-salatu wassalam. It was referred to as Kaaba, but has not attained the status of being Qibla. Why? Qibla is a place which you turn to when you're performing the ibadat. It's the mere direction so that all the Muslims are facing in the same direction. Regardless of person would be in any part of the world, they would always be seeking to look towards Kaaba so they can perform their salat. Hence is the case that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted Ibrahim to be prostrated by all of the angels that were there, He created the stature of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. When He wanted everyone to prostrate in front of Adam, He had created Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, but still there was something missing until He said, فَإِذَا صَوَّيْتُهُ نَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَلْعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. When I created Adam, I blew my soul into Adam, and when the soul was blown into Adam, he was worthy to be prostrated by the angels. So it was the soul of God that was needed in order for people to worship, for people to do sajda, ta'zimi in front of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. Similar was needed over here when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blew His soul into this Kaaba and the birth of Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam takes place. And when you read and you study the books such as the Sharh of Nahjul Balagha by Ibn Abi Hadid al-Mu'tazili, the words that Ibn Abi Hadid uses for Amirul Mu'mineen, he said, Ma aqulu, what do I say in reference to the person fi rajulin aqarra a'da'ahu fi fadlih, about whom even his enemies are, making this testimony that they are believing in the fadail of that individual. He said, Ma aqarra, what should I say? Ma aqulu, there's nothing that I can say about the individual for whom even his enemies are speaking in such high way. There was a story of Syed ibn Abi Waqqas. He was once traveling and he overheard a couple of people speaking ill against Amirul Mu'mineen. He turned to them, Syed ibn Abi Waqqas. He turned to them and he said, what did you say? They were shy because Syed had a maqam. He said, I heard you speak ill of Ali, although he himself had issues, but still, this is what Ibn Abi Hadid is pointing our attention towards, that even the enemies were testifying about the merits of Amirul Mu'mineen. He said, Wallahi, if you possess any one of the merits that Ali ibn Abi Talib had, even just one of those merits that Ali ibn Abi Talib had. And then he narrated the story of Khaybar. He said that the Qila of Khaybar was not victorious for 39 days until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, until Prophet of Allah called upon Amirul Mu'mineen. And he said, لَأُعْتِيَنَّ غَدًا رَأْيَةً, I will give the standard in the hand of that individual, قَرَّارٌ غَيْرُ فَرَّارٍ, the one who's qarrar and who does not run away. And indeed with his hands Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide this victory to us. And that was what happened after the 14 40th day, the Qila of Khaybar was victorious. And when that happened, the question arises, oh Prophet, why did you wait for 40 days? If you knew that it could only be achieved by Ali ibn Abi Talib, why didn't you send him the very first day? Why didn't you send him after 1 week? Why didn't you send him after 2 weeks? Why didn't you send him after 1 month? You waited for 39 days. Prophet would respond by saying, this is where you find out about those who are in your surrounding, that a friend in need is indeed a friend indeed. And the victory could only be achieved from the hands of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And that's why a famous poet by the name Safiyuddin Hilli said, he said, Jumi'at fi sifatik al-azdad. O Ali, Jumi'at fi sifatik al-azdad. There are, contradictory attributes that are all gathered inside you. Either a person is excelling in one field, he normally does not excel in the other field. You're either good in one area, but you're not so good in the other area. And that is the limitation of all of us. We may be good in one part of the thing, one part of the field. We may not be very expert in the other. But he said, Jumi'at fi sifatik al-azdad. O Ali, all of the contradictory sifat and attributes have gathered inside you. فَلِهَذَا أَزَّتْ لَكَ الْعَنْدَادِ. And that is the reason that even your enemies show respect towards you. If I can just ask you to move a little bit forward as there are people coming with a loud Nara Salawat. One more loud salawat, please. Jumi'at. That's why all of the different attributes have gathered inside of you, O Ali. And therefore, fifth Imam also narrated by saying, Kanat fi aliyin sunnatu alfa nabiyyin. That kanat fi aliyin sunnatu alfa nabiyyin. You would find the path of 1,000 anbiya. And the word alf is used metaphorically over here. It means more than that. Kanat fi aliyin sunnatu alfa nabiyyin. That you will find the path of thousands of anbiya inside Ali. This is the call of fifth Imam. Fifth Imam is saying that you will find the sunnat of 1,000 prophets in Ali. Don't take this to be for granted, because prophet is the prophecy and the explanation and elaboration of the qawl of Rasulullah. When Rasulullah was saying, Man arada an yandura ila Adam fi ilmihi. Whoever wants to see Adam in his ilm. Man arada an yandura ila Nuh fi hikmatihi. Whoever wants to see Nuh alayhi salatu wassalam and his wisdom. Wa ala Ibrahim fi ilmihi. Ibrahim and his forbearance. وَعِلَى مُوسَى فِي هَيْبَتِهِ. And Musa alayhi salatu wassalam in his haybat and in his jalal. وَعِلَى إِيسَى فِي زُهْدِهِ. And Jesus for his asceticism. فَلْيَنْظُرْ عَلَى وَجْهِ عَلِي ibn Abi Talib. Look no further. Look towards Ali ibn Abi Talib, and you will find all of them over there together. Salawat biji Muhammad. So the birth of Ali inside the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you would say this is the sharaf and the honor for Amirul Mu'mineen, because no one before him had ever been born in this house, and no one after him had the privilege to be born inside this Kaaba. Therefore, it stands out to be sharaf and honor for Amirul Mu'mineen. I would say if anyone deserves the highest honor, it would be Prophet, because according to our belief, Prophet is above Ali ibn Abi Talib. As far as all of the merits are concerned, Ali says that I am one of the servants, Abid of Muhammad. Therefore, if anyone deserves to be born inside the house, if it to be the highest of the ranks for anyone, it would have been Prophet Muhammad. But that was not the case. So it turns out that the birth of Ali inside Kaaba is actually the honor for Kaaba and not for Ali ibn Abi Talib. And it could also be the response to that, Hal jaza'ul ihsan illa al ihsan. That what could be the better response to ihsan or better than ihsan? If someone is kind to you, you turn around and you be kind to them. That is the best way to be kind to someone. That is the best response that you can give. In fact, our teachings tell us that even if someone is unkind to you, you still show kindness towards them. That is the akhlaq of anbiya. That is the akhlaq of awliya. That is the akhlaq of Aimma. So the birth of Ali is in Kaaba. Just the last, observation on this. Why would it be the birth of Ali? Whenever you're looking for rishta or proposal for your children to get married, although we don't believe in these superficial statuses, but you definitely look for some house which holds certain status, which is as far as the, akhlaq is concerned, as far as their sharafat is concerned. You look for all of these attributes in that house where you're going to go ahead and marry your daughter into or marry your son into. So you look for that sharafat in those houses. We would say that the best house was the house of Prophet Muhammad. That's where Amir al-Mu'mineen was extended his hand to get married to Fatima Zahra salamullahi alayha. But when the best house on the face of the earth is the house of Prophet Muhammad, you would have to bring a groom whose house is better than the house of Prophet Muhammad. What could be the better house than the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which Ali was born in? Salawat bi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So there are many sifat from this aspect. This is the day to celebrate that individual. And I'm coming towards the conclusion that when we look at the fadail of Ali, manaqib of Ali, there's no limitation to what we can speak of in reference to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Dr. Saab also mentioned that enemies tried to hide the fadail of Ali. In fact, Ibn Jawzi has written a book called Al-Mawdu'at. What he did, he gathered all of the fabricated ahadith in that book. You got to know that. There are many books of tradition that we have. There are hadiths left and right. What he did, he pulled out all of the fabricated hadiths, Ibn Jawzi, and he compiled a book called Al-Mawdu'at. There are many fabrication in reference to many individuals. And ahadith similar to the ahadith that of Ahlul Bayt. He said when he speaks of Amir al-Mu'mineen, he said you don't have to fabricate hadith in the merit of Ali ibn Abi Talib. There are already so many sahih ahadith that exist about Ali. And then he narrates this one hadith. In narration of this hadith is that Abi Basir said, Baina Rasulullah dhat al-yawm jalisan. We were sitting with Rasulullah that particular day. إِذَا أَقْبَلَ أَمِيرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And then Amir al-Mu'mineen walked in. فَقَالَ لَهُ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. Rasulullah said to Ali, إِنَّ فِيكَ شَبَهًا مِنْ عِيسَى بْنِ مَرْيَمَ. Oh Ali, you have a similarity with Jesus Christ. You have a similarity with Isa, son of Mary. وَلَوْلَا أَن تَقُولَ فِيكَ طَوَائِفُ مِنْ أُمَّتِي. If I didn't fear what people will associate with you from my nation, مَا قَالَتِ النَّصَارَ فِي عِيسَى بْنِ مَرْيَمَ. The similar association that some Christians have towards Jesus, that they consider him to be God himself. He said, لَقُلْتُ فِيكَ قَوْلًا لَا تَمَرُّ بِمَلَئٍ مِّنَ النَّاسِ إِلَّا أَخَذُوا التُّرَابَ مِنْ تَحْتِ قَدَمَيْكَ يَلْتَمِسُونَ بِذَلِكَ الْبَرَكَةِ. I would have mentioned such attributes in your regards, O Ali, if I did not fear that these people will do the same thing, consider you to be the Lord and Khuda and Rabbul Alameen. I would have mentioned so many attributes and merits for you, O Ali, that you would walk over earth, and every sand that you touch, every khak that you walk over, if people were to pick it up and do tamassuk with it, they will find blessings and barakat in it. And that is the peak of the merits of Ali ibn Abi Talib. That Prophet, when he did not mention all of the attributes, this is how many attributes of Ali we have. Imagine if Rasulullah did mention all of the attributes of Amir al-Mu'mineen, what would we be listening to now? We ask Allah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us the tawfiq on this particular day. That, oh Allah, this is an auspicious day for us, all of us. We have a lot of hajat, oh Allah, please accept our hajat. We have a lot of du'as, oh Allah, accept our du'as. We have a lot of hajat, oh Allah, fulfill those hajat. We have a lot of problems, oh God, alleviate and remove those problems from us. Oh Allah, make us understand the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt. Oh Allah, give us the ability to follow the teachings of Ahlul Bayt. Oh Allah, hasten the zuhur of our awaited Imam and make us amongst the helpers and the soldiers of Imam. Wa akhir dawana anil hamdulillah rabbil alameen. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima.